When money comes, keep quiet and stay wise. Have you ever noticed that people who talk the most about their money are usually the ones who lose it the fastest? Here's a truth most never learn. Not every blessing is meant to be announced. Some gifts, especially financial ones, are given to be guarded in silence, not displayed in noise. Because silence isn't hiding, it's divine protection. The world teaches you to show what you have to prove your worth, but God teaches something different. Real wealth doesn't need an audience. It needs wisdom. Today, I'm revealing a spiritual principle that separates people who build lasting prosperity from those who lose blessings the moment they receive them. And if you stay until the end, I'll show you the one practice that protects your wealth better than any investment strategy ever could. Many destroy their own miracles by speaking too soon. Don't be one of them. Hit subscribe and comment "Quiet Wealth" right now, because what you're about to learn could change not just your finances, but your entire relationship with prosperity. Let's start with why silence is sacred. Principle number 1. Silence is divine protection. Here's what most people don't understand. When God opens a door, when opportunities start flowing, when money finally comes, your first instinct shouldn't be to announce it. It should be to guard it. Because a careless word can awaken eyes that were never meant to see your blessing. A premature celebration can invite energy you don't want into your sacred space. Many people destroy their own miracles not through bad decisions, but through bad timing. They speak too soon. Think about a farmer planting seeds. Does he run through the village shouting, "I planted today"? No. He works in silence, covers the seed with soil, and protects it from birds until it takes root. Because he knows exposed seeds get stolen. Fragile shoots get trampled. Only when the harvest is full does he share the fruit. There's a Jewish teaching that says, the deeper the well, the quieter the water. Shallow streams make noise. Deep rivers run silent. When God blesses you financially, that blessing is a deep well. And deep wells don't advertise. I've watched people receive promotions, bonuses, business opportunities, and the moment they broadcast it, problems emerged. The family suddenly needed loans, friends became jealous, coworkers sabotaged. Not because the blessing was wrong, but because it was exposed before it was established. Here's your move. When money comes, tell God first. Thank Him privately. Let the blessing root in gratitude before you let it branch into conversation. Give it time to settle, to establish, to become unshakable. Then, and only then, if you feel led to share, share with wisdom, not excitement. Silence isn't secrecy. It's a sacred strategy. It's the difference between people who receive blessings once and people who keep receiving them. Because God entrusts resources to those who can protect them, not just celebrate them. Guard your blessing like you'd guard a newborn, because that's exactly what it is. And nothing that fragile and precious belongs in the noise of the crowd. But that's just the obvious part. Because protecting wealth externally means nothing if you're not prepared internally. Principle number 2. Wealth is a test of character, not a reward. Let me tell you something that will change how you see money forever. God doesn't give you wealth to test your hands. He gives it to test your heart. The arrival of money is not the end of your spiritual journey, it's the beginning of a new test. Because many people can handle being broke with grace and humility, but very few can handle being blessed without losing themselves. Poverty reveals character, but prosperity exposes it. Money is a magnifying glass. Whatever was already in your heart, humility or pride, generosity or greed, discipline or recklessness, money makes it bigger, louder, undeniable. If you were grateful when you had little, you'll be generous when you have much. But if you were envious of nothing, you'll be insufferable with something. There's a reason the Bible says it's harder for a rich man to enter heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. Not because God hates wealth, but because wealth tempts you to forget the source. When the bank account grows, people stop praying as desperately. When comfort arrives, gratitude fades. When security shows up, dependence on God walks out the door. Here's what changes everything. When money comes, don't celebrate first, kneel first. Don't ask, "What can I buy?" Ask, "Lord, what am I supposed to serve with this?" Because every dollar you receive is a stewardship test. How you handle it determines whether God trusts you with more or removes what you couldn't manage. Your action step. Write this down and put it where you see it daily. Money is not my reward, it's my responsibility. Say it out loud every time you receive income. Let it settle into your spirit until spending becomes a spiritual act, not an emotional one. The world teaches you that wealth is proof you've arrived. But God teaches that wealth is proof He's trusting you with a greater assignment. Don't fail the test by forgetting who gave you the pencil. And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference, because passing the test internally still requires protecting yourself externally. Principle number 3, keep distance from noise. Here's a truth that will protect your peace and your prosperity. When God elevates you financially, not everyone is allowed to access your new altitude. Some relationships that worked when you were struggling will become toxic when you're thriving. Not because you've changed, but because your blessing exposes their stagnation. Your rise forces them to confront their own stillness. And that discomfort births envy, even in people who claim they love you. Listen carefully. Some people speak softly, smile warmly, congratulate kindly, but carry soul-poisoning energy. They say they're happy for you, but their spirit resents you. They ask questions that sound like care, but are actually surveillance. They offer advice that sounds wise, but is designed to slow you down. There's a reason Jesus withdrew to quiet places to pray. Even He, perfect and powerful, understood that not every voice deserves access to your sacred space. If the Son of God needed boundaries, so do you. Here's what you need to internalize. Protect your peace like you protect your assets, because peace is an asset, maybe the most valuable one. You can have money in the bank, but chaos in your soul, and you'll lose both. But when you have peace, even modest wealth multiplies, because you're making decisions from clarity, not confusion. This isn't arrogance, it's awareness. It's the holy art of separation, knowing who belongs in your inner circle and who belongs at a distance. Not everyone who was with you in the desert is meant to enter the promised land with you. Your move. Audit your relationships right now. Who drains you? Who questions every move? Who celebrates your struggles but goes silent during your wins? Love them from a distance, but don't give them access to your blessings. God is selective about who He blesses for a reason. Be equally selective about who gets to witness and influence how you steward those blessings. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Because protecting your circle is step 1. But understanding your assignment is everything. Principle number 4, wealth as responsibility, not privilege. Let me drop a truth that most preachers won't tell you. Not everyone is given wealth. Not because God plays favorites, but because not everyone is mature enough to carry it. Wealth isn't a reward for being good. It's a responsibility to be ready. And readiness isn't measured by how much you want money, it's measured by what you'll do with it when it arrives. God doesn't hand tools to children who'll hurt themselves. He gives resources to people who can handle the weight without losing their souls. Money is an amplifier. If you're humble with little, wealth makes you generous. If you're selfish with nothing, money turns you into a monster. If you're disciplined when broke, prosperity makes you wise. If you're impulsive when struggling, riches will destroy you faster than poverty ever could. This is why the Bible says, "To whom much is given, much is required." Blessing isn't permission to relax, it's a call to rise. When money comes, God isn't saying you made it, He's saying, now we're ready for the real work. There's a chicken soup story about 2 men who prayed for wealth. Both received it. The first spent it all on himself. A bigger house, luxury cars, expensive trips. Within 5 years, he was broke and bitter. The second used it to serve, started a scholarship fund, helped struggling families, and invested in his community. 20 years later, his wealth had multiplied tenfold. Not because he was smarter, but because he understood stewardship. Here's your question to answer honestly. If God gave you 10 times what you have right now, Would it make you better or worse? Would you serve more people or impress more people? Would you pray more or pray less? Your action. Write down 3 ways you'd use money to serve if you had it abundantly. Not to buy, not to show off, to serve. Then start practicing those 3 things at your current level. Because God doesn't promote people to levels they haven't proven faithful at lower levels. Wealth is a test. Are you passing? But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Because understanding responsibility is one thing, but knowing how to express wealth spiritually, that changes everything. Principle number 5, stewardship, not performance. Here's where most people get wealth completely wrong. They think God gave them money to prove they've arrived, to show they're successful, to finally get the recognition they deserve. But that's the world's narrative, not God's. God didn't bless you financially to prove your worth to people. He blessed you to fulfill your assignment. Every dollar you receive has a divine purpose attached to it. It's not a trophy, it's a tool. The world teaches, spend to be seen. Buy the car that turns heads, wear the watch that starts conversations, live in the house that makes neighbors jealous. But God teaches something radically different. Spend to make meaning. Use money to touch souls, not to impress eyes. There's a profound difference between giving to be noticed and giving to make an impact. One is performance, the other is worship. When you give publicly to get applause, you have already received your reward, human approval. But when you give in secret, when nobody knows but God, that's when heaven takes notice. Jesus said it plainly, when you give, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Why? Because silent giving protects your heart from pride. It keeps your motive pure. It ensures you're serving God's purpose, not feeding your ego. I've watched people announce every donation, post every act of generosity, broadcast every blessing they share. And slowly, imperceptibly, their giving stopped being about the recipient and became about the reputation. The moment you need credit for your generosity, it stops being generous. It becomes transactional. Here's your move. This month, give something significant. No one, not your spouse, not your best friend, not social media. Give it, then let it go. Watch how that act of silent obedience changes something in your spirit. Watch how it deepens your relationship with God in ways public giving never could. Stewardship says, this isn't mine to boast about, it's His to direct. And when you embrace that, money stops controlling you. You start controlling it for kingdom purposes. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because understanding how to give is one thing, but knowing when to stay silent about what you're building, that's wisdom most people never learn. Have you ever lost a blessing by announcing it too early? Share your story in the comments. No judgment, just wisdom we can learn from together. Principle number 6, the wisdom of growing in silence. Here's a principle from nature that will transform how you handle financial blessings. You don't shout every time a seed sprouts. You don't announce every inch of growth. You nurture in silence, protect in quiet, and let roots go deep before branches go wide. Mature people understand this instinctively. When something precious is still fragile, you guard it. You don't parade it. You don't invite opinions. You don't expose it to elements it can't yet withstand. This isn't fear. It's divine strategy. Think about a gardener. When he plants seeds, he doesn't dig them up every day to check progress. He doesn't invite the neighborhood to watch. He waters in private, tends in quiet, and trusts the process underground where no one can see. Only when the plant is strong enough to handle the weather does he stop protecting it so carefully. Your financial blessings work the same way. That promotion, that business opportunity, that investment that's finally paying off. It's a seed, and seeds are vulnerable. They need time and darkness to establish roots. Rush them into light too soon, and they wither. Here's what most people miss. The people who were comfortable with your failure will struggle with your success. Your rise disrupts their narrative. Your breakthrough forces them to examine their own stagnation. And even if they don't mean to, they'll bring energy that can stunt your growth, doubt disguised as concern, jealousy masked as questions, fear presented as advice. This is why God often hides you during seasons of building, not to punish you, but to protect you. He knows that what's growing in you is too valuable to expose before it's ready. So he keeps you quiet, keeps you low, keeps you out of sight until your roots are deep enough that no storm can uproot you. Your action. Stop updating people on every financial move. Stop seeking validation for every blessing. Let your growth happen in private. Let God water what he planted without interference from voices that don't understand the season you're in. Silence isn't secrecy, it's incubation. And what's incubating in you right now is too important to rush. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Because silent growth is powerful. But walking in humility when blessings arrive, that's where most people fail the test. Principle 7. Real wealth walks with humility. Here's where blessing becomes a battleground. When money finally arrives, excitement can quickly turn into carelessness, and that carelessness costs people everything they worked for. Many lose their wealth not because the market crashed or because they made one bad investment. They lose it because they spoke too early, spent too quickly, and made decisions without prayer. They let emotion override wisdom. They let excitement drown out discernment. True prosperity isn't emotional. It's spiritual. It's not about how much you have, but about how surrendered you remain to the one who gave it. The moment you think you earned it all by yourself, the moment you forget those nights you cried yourself to sleep, praying for a breakthrough, the moment you stop saying thank you every time you see your bank balance, that's when you're in danger. There's a story about a wealthy merchant who prayed every morning, "Lord, give me just enough that I don't forget you." His friends mocked him. "Why not ask for abundance?" He smiled and said, "Because I've seen what abundance does to men who aren't ready. It makes them gods in their own eyes, and gods don't pray, they demand." That's the test of wealth. Can you have it without it having you? Can you prosper without becoming proud? Can you be blessed without becoming arrogant? Here's your move. Let God be your financial advisor. Before every major purchase, every investment, every financial decision, pause and pray. Not a quick "bless this" prayer, but a genuine "Lord, is this your will for this money" prayer. Because he knows where that money truly belongs. He knows who should benefit and who shouldn't. He sees what you can't. Real wealth doesn't make you louder, it makes you wiser. It doesn't make you flashy, it makes you faithful. And the people who stay wealthy long-term aren't the ones who celebrate the hardest when money arrives. They're the ones who humble themselves the deepest. Money reveals character. Make sure what it reveals in you is worth keeping. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Because humility in the moment is one thing, but patience through the process, that separates the blessed from the broken. Principle number 8. Learn the art of sacred waiting. Here's a truth that will save you years of regret. Not every blessing is meant to be revealed immediately. Some fruit must ripen in darkness. Some gifts need time in the shadows before they can handle the light. If you expose a blessing too early, you invite winds that will destroy it. You open doors to forces that weren't meant to touch it. You bring it into environments it wasn't ready to survive. The Bible is full of waiting seasons. Joseph had a dream at 17, but didn't see it fulfilled until he was 30. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading anyone to freedom. David was anointed king as a boy, but didn't sit on the throne until he was a man. Why? Because the blessing was ready before they were. God uses waiting to prepare you for what you asked for. The delay isn't denial, it's development. And financial blessings work the same way. That business opportunity, that investment, that income increase, it might be coming, but the season of obscurity is just as important as the season of harvest. There's an ancient proverb: it's easier to uproot a seed than to cut down a tree. When your blessing is young and fragile, it's vulnerable. That's when silence, patience, and obscurity protect it. But when it's rooted deep, when it's grown strong, when it's weathered seasons in private, then no storm can take it down. Your move. Stop rushing the process. Stop forcing doors open. Stop announcing things that are still in the seed stage. Let God's timing be enough. Let the blessing take root in darkness where it's protected from eyes that would envy it, hands that would sabotage it, and voices that would doubt it. Trust the wait. Because what's growing in secret under God's watch is always stronger than what's grown in public under people's praise. Patience isn't passive. It's the most aggressive form of faith there is. Sacred waiting says, I trust you more than I trust my timeline. And that trust, that's what unlocks blessings that last. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Because waiting is hard, but walking with humility when the wait is over, that's where the real test begins. Principle number 9, humility is the root of longevity. There's an ancient saying, deep waters are always quiet. Shallow streams make noise, splashing over rocks, announcing their presence. But deep rivers, silent, powerful, unstoppable, and they carry more life than any loud, shallow creek ever could. Sacred wealth operates the same way. It doesn't need noise. It doesn't require an announcement. It doesn't demand recognition. Real prosperity walks so humbly that you'd never know the depth of blessing someone carries just by looking at them. The wise don't let their bank accounts speak. They let the quality of their life do the talking. How do they treat people who can't do anything for them? How do they give without needing credit? How they walk in peace while everyone else is frantic? How do they remain grounded when everyone around them is chasing status? They understand something most people never learn. Money is temporary, but wisdom is eternal. Buildings crumble, investments fail, accounts drain. But the character you build while carrying wealth, that's what transfers to the next generation. That's what creates legacy. There's a prayer I want you to memorize. Lord, don't give me more than my humility can carry, because if your blessing exceeds your character, you won't lose your money, you'll lose yourself. And there's no amount of wealth worth that trade. I've watched people go from humble and hungry to proud and poisonous the moment success arrived. They stopped listening, stopped learning, stopped serving. They thought the blessing was the destination, not realizing it was just the beginning of a deeper test. Your move. Make humility a daily practice. Serve someone who can't repay you. Sit with people who have less and learn from their resilience. Give anonymously. Pray more as you prosper, not less. Let every financial increase be matched by a spiritual deepening. Because here's the truth. The people who stay wealthy aren't the ones who made the most money. They're the ones who stayed the most humble. Humility isn't the path to wealth, it's the foundation that keeps wealth from destroying you. Wait. The most important part is in the following story. Because understanding humility intellectually is one thing, but living it when the test arrives, that reveals everything. Principle number 10, the true challenge of wealth. Let me tell you what nobody warns you about. When financial blessings come, that's when the real test begins. Not the test of scarcity. You passed that one. Now comes the test of abundance, and it's harder than anything poverty ever threw at you. When you had nothing, the challenge was simple. Survive. Keep believing, keep working, keep praying. The path was clear because you had no choice. But when blessings arrive, suddenly you have options, choices, opportunities, and with those come temptations that didn't exist before. The test is no longer can you handle having nothing. It's can you handle having something without losing yourself. Can you stay faithful with abundance? Can you remain disciplined with options? Can you keep praying when you no longer feel desperate? This is where most people fail. They think the hard part is getting the money, but the hard part is keeping your soul while managing the money. Poverty tests your faith. Prosperity tests your character. And character is a longer, harder journey. Truly wealthy people, and I'm not talking about bank accounts, I'm talking about souls, aren't measured by what they have. They're measured by what they don't show, what they don't chase, what they don't need to prove. They carry wealth like they carry water. Necessary, useful, but not something to worship or display. They know that every dollar is a stewardship, Every investment is a responsibility, and every blessing comes with the sacred duty to stay grounded. Here's what I need you to understand. Silence is your armor in this battle. Silence is proof that you trust God more than you trust applause. When you can prosper without posting, succeed without announcing, give without credit, that's when you know the blessing didn't change you. It refined you. Your final move, every time you receive money, whisper this prayer before you do anything else. Lord, this is yours. Show me what you want done with it. Then listen, obey, and watch how God multiplies what you're willing to surrender. The truly wealthy don't own everything. They refuse to let anything own them, especially money. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss the last detail, because now you know the principles. The question is, will you live them? So there it is. True prosperity doesn't need an audience. It needs obedience. Real wealth doesn't shout, it serves. And the people who keep their blessings long-term aren't the ones who announce them the loudest, but the ones who protected them in sacred silence. When money comes, and it will come if you're faithful, remember who the source is. Keep your heart soft, your hands open, and your mouth closed. Don't let the noise of celebration blur the purpose of the blessing, because every dollar you receive isn't just provision. It's a test of whether you'll stay grounded or get lost in pride. Here's what you do right now. The next time blessing arrives, resist the urge to announce it. Guard it. Nurture it. Let your life quality speak, not your words. Kneel before you celebrate. Pray before you spend. If you're committed to prospering with wisdom instead of noise, smash that subscribe button and comment "Quiet Wealth" below. Share this with someone who's about to receive a blessing and needs to know how to protect it. What spiritual principle should I cover next? Drop your requests in the comments. Remember, silence isn't weakness, it's sacred strategy. The truly wealthy don't need to prove anything. They walk in quiet confidence because they know who blessed them and why. Stay quiet, stay wise, stay blessed.